Oh, look at this, Josh. There's some varmint's been in here. See this? Somebody beat me to all my corn there. Okay, well this morning we're out here in our sweet corn patch. When we planted this field corn, we took a little gap and just planted some sweet corn rows in here in between. Kind of let the pivot and everything irrigate it. I don't know how much you want to learn about sweet corn, but we just drilled it right into the grain stubble. So this corn is the second crop of the year that we've grown out here. We grew three-way grain that we baled, and then we just planted the corn right into the stubble. The field corn's a little more aggressive plant. It doesn't mind as much, but so you'll see all this grassy stuff on the ground, and some of that grain re-sprouted. Some of it's the old stubble, but that's basically a plus for us, because as this corn comes off in the fall, then we can have cattle graze it and stuff. And once the corn is big, once the corn is more than 2 feet tall on the field corn, then this grain doesn't really compete with it. But on sweet corn, I think it does a little bit. Just telling Josh out in here, this area that we're in right here is kind of poor. The corn is short and the cobs are small. If we go down here just a little bit, the ground changes, maybe the water changes a little bit. You can definitely see that the leaves are a little darker, the plants are a little more consistent. So today we're just kind of on the leading edge of the maturity for the corn. And so we're just kind of looking for the bigger cobs and those that look like they're kind of filled out. If we open them up, we're looking for a big full kernel and that color change. If we want to get one that's more immature, like this one, it's a lot smaller cob, and then the fill is a lot different. We have a lot more of the white kernels on the top still, where it can have another day or two of growth. At this point, the corn changes fast. I was also coaching my crew out here about the cobs on the corn. Most of these plants have more than one cob. The ones that just have a primary cob, the cob is bigger. Those that have two equal cobs, it's not as good because they're both smaller. But most of them will have a primary and a secondary. So the primary cob is the big one. That's the one you want to pick right now. And the secondary one is smaller and generally lower on the plant. And a lot of times it's not as well developed as the top one. And so today I'm just having the guys pick the primary cob and leave the lower secondary cob behind. They might never get harvested, or people will come and pick them later, kind of glean the field or pick them up, but there's definitely a quality difference between the primary and the secondary. And so in corn, it's nice to have two cobs per plant, but sometimes they're smaller. And so sometimes we'll find a plant that has just one primary cob, and it's a lot bigger than the... Yesterday I was finding ones that had 3 and 4 cobs on them. So to me that means that nutritionally that plant had all it wanted. It was in good shape. So that was good. Another thing about sweet corn, we're out here in the morning. It's about 6:30. It's 57 degrees right now, so I have a jacket on in the summertime. And so if we can pick this corn when it's cool like this and crisp, then we'll take it to our Hyco Hay and Cattle trailer, and we'll put it in that freezer trailer and chill it down really fast. And if we can do that, we keep it really fresh. So with sweet corn, getting it cold fast is the key. For us picking it while it's cool outside and it's really crisp like this, it adds to the freshness. Here in a few hours when it's 90 degrees, the plant's not as crisp, and the corn, as soon as you pick it, it starts getting a little wilty. So the temperature when you pick up is a really important thing for freshness. And then we happen to be lucky and also be in the beef business. And so we have a freezer trailer and we will throw that in there and chill it really quick, and it'll stay fresh. Look at that one, Josh. He's got 2 cobs ears coming out the same one. I guess another thing I just thought of, on this sweet corn, you can tell that there's weeds and grass in here. We sprayed for weeds early on, right before this corn ever came out of the ground. And then we haven't sprayed anything on it since then. We're kind of early in picking this, but there's no worms, but it's never been sprayed for worms or had any kind of pesticide on it at all. And so, I don't know, I come out here in the field and I think, well, it looks kind of rough, you know, there's weeds, there's stuff growing, it's not optimal, but I think as far as what people care about with sweet corn and they're going to be really closely associated with, though, it's pretty natural. It hadn't had a lot of care or anything on it. So anyway, we've been happy that the worms are low. And oh, look at this, Josh. There's some varmint's been in here. See this? Somebody beat me to all my corn there. They ate it. This might be a deer. The deer eat it. The coyotes eat it. I mean, I took you those pictures yesterday where the dog was picking corn. The dog would just eat it just like a person. It would pull every kernel off there. The raccoons, you can usually tell because it's more pulled off. They have more hands. They kind of tear it down. The deer, that might be a deer. They just maul it and eat it. Coyotes eat it too. I mean, anything that can figure out that there's these sweet little gems inside these husks, they get after it. The sweet corn too is remarkably different in taste and flavor than that field corn. And then the field corn too, it's not ripe. It's barely in a pollination stage where it's just barely starting to form a cob. Now the sweet corn is just hitting its maturity where it's really sweet and plump. And so every animal that's hiding out there, it finds the good stuff over here. So the day length, I mean, the genetics on the sweet corn and the field corn are just so different. That wants tonnage. It wants just bulk and forage, and it'll put big grain in there, but it'll be starchy grain. And it takes 103 days to grow that corn. And so it's just pollinating and just starting to put on the ear. This sweet corn, it's genetically designed to be 65 days. And so, I mean, and that's about where we're at. We planted it the middle of June, and now here we are the middle of August, and a little past, and it's ready to go. So lots of differences that way.